Melanie, I know you're about to introduce the keynote speaker. I thought it would be fun if we gave the audience some pro tips on how to get this done. You open to a couple of ideas?
You're only doing that because you know I need help.
No, I'm talking to them, Melanie. Step up to the microphone. I'm going to show you a quick mic technique. So every microphone has what's called a hotspot, and you see a lot of people holding microphones down here. Did you hear the difference in the volume? Like I can have a little bit of presence now, and when it comes down here, not so much. Same thing with the lavalier microphones. You know, you have to be cognizant of where they're at. So you want to aim it right at your mouth, right? And you're right about the right distance, so that's good. I want to show you a technique I call putting steak on the grill. It's a little volume lesson. So we're looking for leaders with confidence and leaders that can get things done, yes? One of the ways you can trigger that to the audience and send that signal immediately. I mean, you could just say, I have confidence that I can get things done. But why don't you just show it? And you can show it in the volume of your voice. So you've got a little first line intro. What is the first line here? Just read it normal.
Well, it's time to introduce our keynote speaker.
Great. So, I mean, it's serviceable. It's fine. But here's how you put a little steak on the grill. Do you have a pet at home?
No.
We'll use this microphone.
Only my partner, Tom.
I'm going to guess Tom's not here this morning.
Tom's not here.
Okay. Have you ever had a pet, Melanie?
Yes.
Okay, so have you ever had a dog, for example?
No.
Cat?
No. Rabbit.
You had a pet rabbit. There goes my bit.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Because what I wanted to do is show you that when a dog misbehaves or a cat misbehaves, you sometimes have to yell at it. Even no matter how much you love your dog or your cat, if your dog does something it shouldn't do, and the dog's, what was the rabbit's name?
Fireball.
Fireball.
Now everyone knows my password.
I think that's safe to say now, Melanie. This bit just keeps getting better. So if you had to yell at your dog, which name is Spot, you know, Spot did something wrong, you wouldn't say, Spot, no, bad dog. You wouldn't say it in a normal voice. You would actually yell at the dog, right? So, no, Spot, bad dog, right? So if you were yelling at your pet rabbit, Fireball, how would you yell at Fireball?
Well, it's time to introduce our keynote speaker.
That's it. And so the difference is a little bit more volume. You'd actually smile when you say it because, so imagine yelling at your pet while you're smiling. No, Fireball, bad rabbit. And it carries a little bit more energy. You got it. Let's continue.
Okay. Our next speaker is a well-known on the Rotary circuit.
Keep reading.
It says perfect smile.
What did you say?
It says perfect smile in my notes.
So she wrote.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
So the script says smile, so she says. Please continue.
He has keynoted countless zone events and has spoken at Rotary International conventions in Australia, Thailand, California, and Korea. He most recently spoke at the giant Lone Star Pets in Texas.
Excellent. So you're reading, and it feels like you're reading, right? And you want to feel like you're passionate about this speaker. You want them to get excited, which means no reading. But you have to read. So what's the trick?
Put your finger on the line and look up.
That's right. So we would look up once in a while, right? In the list, New Zealand, Australia, whatever, right? And then you're back to the script again. Very good. Please continue.
This gentleman is a professional communicator who teaches presentation skills to leaders and sales teams at companies like Hallmark, AT&T, Bank of America, Verizon Wireless, Rayovac, National Institute of Health, and the Barbados Ministry of Tourism.
Excellent. So you're reading great. You got the index finger going. Part of our body language and part of our verbal communication is augmented by nonverbal communication. So you want to use your right hand to gesture once in a while, maybe on the last thing. And the Barbados Ministry of Tourism. Let's try it one more time. The
Barbados Ministry of Tourism.
So natural. Please continue.
He's engaged to Rotarian and past Troy Rotary President Renee Pothidis, who's also with us this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker, Angelo Caruso.
Melanie McCoy, everybody. Give me 5. Nice job. Wow, that went far better than we thought it was going to go. Good morning, everybody. I have some exciting information for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about how to be the best president that you can be, and this is happening in a very interesting time, not only in the world, but also in Rotary. It's a time we are mired in change. I remember being in high school and having one of my favorite teachers say to the class, "You're going to witness more change in your lifetime than anybody has in the last 500 years combined." And when I heard that as a 7th grader, I'm like, I'm good, that's fine. And then the change started happening to moi, right? And it's interesting that change is never convenient. Change is never the good timing for us. It's almost thrust upon us. And that's certainly been true in the Rotary world. Just think about how we've been running our meetings in the last little while. We were all physical meetings, right, in person. We didn't even differentiate between in person and anything else. There was no need to. There was no other way to do it except in person 3 years ago. And then COVID happened, and we heard this word virtual. What's that mean? Well, we can do Zoom meetings. Fabulous, right? And it changed again when COVID took a little valley, and, we went back to in person, and then we went back to virtual again. And now there are clubs meeting every other week in person. That's called hybrid, right? And the change just keeps continuing, and we don't know where this is going to end. We have to find the balance. Let me correct myself. You have to find the balance, presidents-elect. You're going to decide how your club moves forward, and that's very interesting to me. This move from PN to PE is you at the top of the triangle ushering your club through change, through this motion, right? And motion is good. But change is sometimes something that's a little bit uncomfortable for us. So we got to get used to this motion of the ocean, right? And so we're moving from PN to PE and then into the slot. And some of you will move up even more from there. I know that we're looking to fill leadership positions at Pets. If you're having a good time this weekend, talk to one of us about being involved with Pets as you move through the Rotary Triangle. We'd love it. It occurred to me some time ago, because I speak at a lot of these Pets, that the PN world is a little bit different than the PE world. So the PEs are already in the water, and the PNs are still in the boat. That's the analogy, right? The motion of the ocean, right? And so we have a special PN track that we're doing today, and Chris Etienne is handling it for us. There's one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and the PNs will be looking at things from a 30,000-foot view. Long-range planning, strategic planning. We've got some time yet. We know what are some ways we can cultivate relationships. PEs, man, it's too late to cultivate relationships almost for you. You are in the water swimming, and you better have your team set up because the hour is getting late. And that's one of the reasons why we send you to Pets in March, because your life is about to change on July 1st. So if you're going to have the motion of the ocean, you got to know the difference between jetsam and flotsam. Any boaters in the audience? A few, yeah. We live in the Great Lakes, right? So jetsam, everybody, is the stuff that you would throw off the boat on purpose if you needed to lose weight on the boat. And the flotsam is the stuff that comes onto the boat in times of change, right? It hangs with you. So I knew a president once who decided at the beginning of the year that he was not going to ring the bell anymore, that the bell was too Pavlovian. Remember Pavlov? Or high school. Think about high school. The bell rings and everybody has to do something, right? And, you know, you could debate this. We could debate it tonight on a bar stool in Burdick's, right? But here's the point. The president decided this is the change that I want to affect this year, and we're not going to ring the bell. And two interesting things happened. Nobody in the club noticed that they weren't ringing the bell for about a month. Why? Because the speaker was pretty good at getting the audience's attention. He didn't need the bell. He was exactly correct. He just started the meeting, right? The second thing that was interesting is, as soon as the year was over, the president after him reinstated the bell again, which is fine too, isn't it? We've got to try new things to figure out what's best. The trick is, as Bob Seger sings in his song, knowing what to leave in and what to leave out. Night moves, right? What to leave in and what to leave out. And that's going to be the key thing that you have to worry about this year. So flotsam is the stuff that accidentally happens. You make a change in the club and you lose a member. You might even know you're going to lose the member because the member tells you, if you make that change, I'm going to leave the club. And sometimes the member that wants to leave says, you know, to them, that's a no-brainer. He's certainly not going to make the change now that I told him I'm leaving the club. It's kind of like blackmail. If you make that change, I'm leaving the club, right? But interesting things happen. You make the change and everything's okay. They stay in the club. And sometimes you make the change and they leave the club and the club's better for it in some way. No change makes everyone happy. If you're trying to make everyone happy, you will make no one happy. It is not a good goal to try to make everybody in your club happy. I know it sounds very un-Rotarian to say that, but it's a leadership 101 trick, right? Okay. Technology has had a lot of change. One of the changes that we're dealing with right now, how many of you have a Netflix subscription? And by the way, the number one way to protect yourself online is through something called multi-factor authentication. It's called MFA. A simple version of that is the CAPTCHA. You know, when they send you a word and you got to type it in, and then you have to swear because you didn't type it right. Then you do that 2 or 3 more times, right? Or you can't read it, and it happens. Multi-factor authentication is also for people with Netflix, because apparently people with Netflix subscriptions share their codes with 7 generations of their family. Not Rotarians. We're better than everybody else. We only share it with 2 generations of our family. So that's MFA. The best MFA of all is called 3FMA, or 3MFA, which is multi-factor authentication 3 times. So you think about you're breaking into a safe, or you're trying to get into a safe room, or some place that has a very secure thing. And I didn't know this, so I'm going to read it to you. The 3 things are something you know, something you have, and something you are. Some of you may be familiar with this kind of 3MFA. And I thought, what a great way to talk about Rotarians, right? Something they know, something they have, and something they are. Because it's important to recognize which members of your club are going to be around a while. And it's important when you meet somebody recognize if they could be a good Rotarian for you. And if they have these 3 things, they're going to be a good fit. Because I'm going to tell you something. We bring a lot of people into our organization, and they leave because it wasn't a good fit in the first place. But it took everybody 6 months or a year to find out. So let's get better at this. What do you say? Okay, so here are a couple techniques for this. Something they know, right? So we're taking care of what you know by sending you to pets, right? And we hope you're having a good weekend. Are you having a good weekend so far? So this is interesting because pets is supposed to be a mandatory event, right? Which means you have to come. I just got back from speaking at Lone Star Pets in Texas, and this mandatory event, attendance was down this year. You're supposed to go to Pets to become president. Right? So we can take care of the word mandatory by not using any anymore. We can just say we're going to create an event, and we did this for you this year. You don't have to come to Pets, but it's the only way you can have a successful year as president. You hear the different framing for that, right? So it's not mandatory anymore. It's not something you have to do. It's something that you want to do. And that's marketing and persuasion. We're going to talk about persuasion in just a second. So that's something you know. How about something you have? When you're looking for Rotarians to come to the club, one thing we could use is money. We can always use good contributors to the Rotary Foundation. So we're looking for people that can contribute in that way. A lot of clubs right now, because they have this kind of minimalism thing going, you know, they say, well, maybe we don't even need dues in the club. Maybe we don't have to serve people food. Maybe we don't even have to meet anymore. I want to tell you something. You cannot shrink your way to success. No business, no enterprise can shrink its way to success. Be careful about how much stuff you start slashing and burning in your club, because it will be hard to come back from that. Let's talk about other things that you have, that people have. How about fundraising skills? Couldn't we use that in a Rotarian, in a person, somebody that's organized, right? I'm very proud to be part of a fundraising initiative, and it's a professional development fundraiser. So far, we've raised over $250,000. I will come in and speak on behalf of your club to the community, right? Community leaders. We charge them $50 to get in. We bring in 100 people. That's $5,000 just in ticket prices, right? And then we sell some sponsorships for $5K. It's a $10,000 net, and it works like clockwork if you follow instructions. I only do 2 a year because that's my bandwidth for this, right? I'm still in business. So this is a pro bono event. I speak for free at this event. I do all my Rotary events at no cost. My point is that once you start thinking like this, oh my gosh, we could have a public event sponsored by Rotary instead of a Rotary event that we invite the public to. Because a lot of times we have a Rotary event and we're so proud of the fact it's a Rotary event, other people see it and they say, well, it must have to be a Rotarian to go to this. And they don't come. What's the old Groucho Marx line? I don't care to belong to a club that wouldn't have me as a member, right? And so we want to be very clear, we're having public events sponsored by Rotary. So there are ways to market it, and we can talk more about that. We also want you to know that you are not only in a position to make changes in your club this year, you are obligated to make changes in your club this year. That's why you're president. And if you change nothing, it's a good chance you didn't serve your club as well as you could. That's something that you have. Here's something that you are. We're looking for 3 people in 3 things in Rotarians, certainly 3 things in presidents-elect. You can write them down. We're looking for people who are coachable. We're looking for people who are decisive. And we're looking for people who are resourceful. Those are my favorite 3 qualities in a person. If I see that in you, I gravitate towards you. I want to be with you. I will ask you to join my Rotary Club. I will ask you to join Rotary, period, if I'm someplace else in the country. And we've got to get better at recognizing this in others. I want to tell you 2 quick stories. Before I joined Rotary, I was a young man, I was single, and I wanted to do something in my community, but I didn't know what, and I started poking around Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Back in the day, it was called Big Brothers. And I thought, well, this would be cool, you know. I don't have a family, I don't have any kids. I was starting to feel paternal, it was weird. And I thought, I'll get a little brother, and maybe I'll feel like a better person, and I can contribute to my community a little bit. So have anybody been a big brother or big sister? It's an interesting matching process, isn't it? And the lady that was matching us up said, you know, we asked the young man if he would prefer a smoker or a non-smoker. It was one of the basic questions that they asked the kid, right? And I said, well, what did he say? And they said, well, Anthony, that's his name. His name was Anthony Valentine. Is that perfect? It's like a soap opera name. You know what soap opera names are? Thank you. Quick thing with soap opera names, this is fun. So you take your middle name, right, and it becomes your first name. Your middle name is now your first name, and the street you live on becomes your second name, like your surname. What's your soap opera name? Jacob Bellriver. That's his soap opera name. Roma, what's your soap opera name? Pinky Oakwood. Because Pinky is your middle name. Well, it's still Pinky. Worked out good. So Anthony Valentine, right? So they say, well, you want a smoker or non-smoker? Anthony goes, I want a non-smoker. And then I said, well, if it matters, I also want a 12-year-old who doesn't smoke. And she wrote it down, you know. So we got matched up, and I went to Anthony's house. It was kind of a weird visit because I get to know his mom, and the mom was interesting just as a case study in herself. She was doing her best as a single mom to raise a couple, 3 kids. And Anthony, we go on the visit, and Anthony didn't say a word to me the whole time. The first time we went out to do something. And I thought, well, I'm a dismal failure. I felt so bad, this didn't work at all. I'm going to be terrible at this, I just didn't feel like it was a successful outing. And I go to pick him up. And by the way, I had my, back in the day, we used Franklin planners. Remember those little books? Some of you remember. Big, bulky things, right? But that's where you kept all your appointments. This is way before cell phones. And when I dropped Anthony off on the first visit, I said, well, I get out my Franklin planner, and I'm like making my notes about, well, when would you like to get together again? Because we needed to put a schedule together. And I'm in the driver's seat, and he's in the passenger seat, and he's watching me with this thing. He doesn't know it's called a Franklin planner. He just knows it's a black book, right? And I'm writing. I'm making an appointment. And so I pick him up the second time, and I'm thinking, oh, I hope this goes better the second time than it did the first time. And Anthony comes out, and he's carrying something. I didn't see what it was. It's on the other side of his body. He gets in the car. He's got a little black book, an appointment book that he then writes in our next appointment. Isn't that something? Even now, I get a little emotional talking about it because people are watching us all the time. And as president, they're watching you. But you don't feel it because you've been in the club for a while. Or maybe 6 days. If you've been in the club 6 days, they're really watching you. Second story, also very touching. I got, when big storm was coming through Louisiana, I was watching the weather now. We're such good citizens. We watch out for weather everywhere in the world now. Like we don't have enough to worry about. It's raining in Florida. And so, hello. And the storm's coming into Florida. My brother, New Orleans, Louisiana area. My brother lives in Baton Rouge, and we're tracking this storm just because I'm thinking about my brother. And it's getting worse and worse and worse, the forecast. And then Rob calls one day, and he says, he's not himself. I can tell right away. With family, you can tell. My youngest brother, Rob, I'm the oldest brother. And he calls his eldest brother, and he says, we're flooded. He says, the water's 5 inches high in my house, in every room on the first floor. And I right away, my heart, just sank. And right away, I knew I'm going to go see him. And I've never been a first responder to a disaster. This is something that Rotarians do all the time. But I had never done it. And I said, I'll be down first plane in the morning. And I talked to Renee. We reorganized some things. And I jumped on a plane and went down to see Rob. How many of you have been a first responder to something like this anywhere in the world? A few hands, yeah? Most people still need to go through this because when you do, you start to understand service. You start to understand what the French call the raison d'etre of a reason for being of an organization like this. So I'm texting with Rob on my way down, and I get down to the airport. The plane landed fine, but I couldn't get a rental car because all the roads are flooded. And then I'm like, I'm going to get an Uber. This is in the early days of Uber, and I can't get an Uber. Finally, an Uber. And the Uber app says it's the kind of car that's coming to get you. It was an F-150 Ford truck. And I've never been picked up in a Ford truck before. But this was the only kind of truck that would get through the roads. And this guy was enterprising, so he knew that he could be helpful on this day. So we're driving into Rob's neighborhood, and the smell is terrible. I don't know if you've ever been in a flood zone where the water's been sitting for a few days in 90-plus degree temperatures. You're starting to see mildew and mold, and it's just a terrible smell. I can't even explain how it smells. It's almost indescribable. Also, when your house floods, anything that gets wet has to be taken out of the house. And when everything on the main floor floods, every piece of furniture has to go. It looked like everyone was having a garage sale on the first day, on that same day. So all the furniture's out. We roll into Rob's neighborhood. We pull up to Rob's house, and his furniture I had sat in on Thanksgiving holidays is at the curb. And I don't even know what I'm about to walk into. I am fearful for what I'm about to see. And I knocked on the door. He knows I'm coming. I knock as a courtesy, but I open the door. I let myself in. He's out back, Rob. And he came in the back door, and he didn't say anything. Rob's a very gregarious guy. He loves people, and he's very, very communicative. He didn't say a word. He just walked toward me, and he fell into my arms, and he started crying. And I said, I'm here to help. And he says, I know. We got a crew coming at 6 o'clock. It was really early. And the crew is, I said, well, who's the crew? And he says, well, it's like a service club from the area. And I'm like, Rotary is here, you know? I thought, how cool would this be that I fly halfway across the country and actually all the way from Michigan it is all the way across the country. And I'm going to meet some fellow Rotarians, and they're all going to help my brother, and I'm going to help my brother, and this is going to be great, everything's going to turn out good. Because that's all anybody wants to know, is everything's going to work out, right? And so I'm anxious to meet my Rotarian buddies, and pretty soon this crew rolls up. They got the flat pan shovels, they got generators, they got fans, because nobody got any AC. It's 100 degrees, and you got to shovel out that muck from inside the wall, the drywall, right? To clear the house, you got to use a saber saw, I think, to cut the drywall in every room of the house. At the end of the time, we could look through the entire house because there were no walls at the bottom. And then that's only the deconstruction, or what they call the demolition. Then everything has to be repaired. This crew's job was to get all this done in a 10 or 12-hour day, whatever it took. And I'm now in it, wearing a mask way before COVID, can't breathe, can't see, sweating like a pig, and we just humped, man. We had wheelbarrows in the house. We were scraping up the hardwood floors. All this has to happen. But before that happened, I found out who I was working with. We were waiting in the driveway. They're bringing coffee. And they all get out of the car, and I'm like, man, Rotary looks the same no matter where you go. These are good people. And they come up, and we all shake hands. It was like a football team coming together for the coin toss, And I said, where are you guys from? And they said, Kiwanis. And I thought, isn't that just perfect that there are so many people like us and competition to us? Good people doing good things. That was a valuable lesson for me that day. And by the way, Rotary came through with money to my brother's neighborhood, one of the hardest hit. And I was in touch with Mike Hayes, who was a district governor at the time. He says, yeah, man, we got him. And I said, and in no special treatment. He just said he would put your name in. Fantastic. Thank you, Rotary. And those are the kind of people you're dealing with. And we need to find more of them, don't we? So let's do it. Let's talk about persuasion quickly. So persuasion is one of the three things I want to share with you now. Get out your pens, type it into your phones. There are three things you need to get to work on as soon as you get back. One of the things I don't like about these conferences, if I go home, my brain's alive, I don't even know what to do first. Here are the three things you need to do first when you get back. Number one, you need to shore up comms, shore up communication back home. And the best way to do that is to start getting all of your important resources gathered in your smartphone, in your phone. So you would hand enter, it's the only way to do it, every member of your club. If you're a district governor or a district governor nominee, you hand enter every president, all 50 of them. And here's the trick, everybody. In the first name field of the phone, you're going to enter 2 digits that help you search all the members of your club. So you choose 2 letters that never appear next to each other in the English language, like RC, Rotary Club. RC never shows up in the English language. And so if you're going to do somebody like Renee Pothidis, in Renee's first name field, you would do RC Renee. You with me? Now, if I ever want to find anybody in my club, all I have to type is what? RC, and all the club names come up. Is that the coolest thing? Because you're like, what's his name again? You can't remember. Especially true if you're managing clubs now. So RC, and it's called an identifier. They use it in computers all the time. It's the hashtag version of the whole thing. So that's a great way to get your comms together. Secondly, and comms, you got to get one way that you can truly connect with people. So some people would say it's Facebook group. Some people would say it's email. But you could make an argument. Some people aren't on Facebook. Some people don't answer their email, right? Phone calls are the bomb. Phone calls and getting people on the phone and talking to them. And you make them answer you. And here's one of my tricks. I call them and I say, hey, Henry, this is Michael. I've got a compliment for you. I need you to call me back. I put the phone down, ring, ring, ring. He says, you wanted this, he never says you have a compliment. He goes, you wanted to talk? Yeah. And I'll give him a compliment. And then I tell him what I want him to do. So appeal to people's ego. Don't be transparent about it, but treat people well. I'm going to show you that trick in just a second. Number 2, you need to get really good at opening and closing presidents-elect. So opening conversations, opening meetings, right? All these things. We gave a bell ringing lesson before the meeting began today. When you ring the bell, there's a sweet spot of the bell. It's down below, not on top. And you don't ring the bell tentatively. That's not a leader. That's a leader. And don't take your eyes off the bell or you'll miss it. And isn't that embarrassing? So you want to get good at opening and you want to get at closing. I do a lot of sales training. What I do for a living is teach presentation skills, but I spend a lot of time with sales teams, right? And sales teams want to close. And the way they close is through succinct, exact messaging, right? So for example, I teach salespeople how to do what's called a 10-word close. You just close somebody in 10 words. Zig Ziglar had a 2-question close. There's all kinds of things like this, right? How about a 5-word close or a 4-word close for Rotary? 4-word, F-O-U-R-W-O-R-D, a 4-word close. I knew a guy one time, his 4-word close was, let's see, 4 words. He says, he meets somebody, talk to him for a second, got to develop rapport, and then he's recruiting for the club, and he goes, tell me, do you like children? You see what he did? It's called a yes question. So if they say yes, they're qualified to join Rotary, see, on a base level. If they say no, you ask them again in a louder voice. You don't like children? They fold. So opening and closing. And the third piece is this persuasion piece that we want to get really good at motivating people to do what we want them to do. Good leaders are good at 2 things. They cultivate a following, and good leaders create other leaders. That's what we're doing, right? So this is what we want to do. Now, how do you do this? Well, one thing, best advice I can give you in our short time together here is that you would get really good at saying very nice things that no one has ever said to that person. By the way, I'll come back to this. We're putting on the screen some QR codes that you can shoot for resources. And we showed you a leadership book here now. It's free, all kinds of leadership stuff. A minute ago, maybe you saw the Get the Word Out Now group on Facebook. You should join that. It's by far one of the most nutritious Rotary Facebook groups because we're teaching you marketing campaigns, how to get more people to your events. Try to do 100-person events because that's a thing. And tell everybody, we want 100 people. Keep telling you, we want 100, we want 100. I call people all the time that are doing events. How many people do you want? Gee, I hadn't really thought about it. 100. Say it with me. How many people do you want? 100. Yeah. Why not? How much money you want to raise? How about $10,000? How much money you want to raise? $10,000. Yeah. Don't say, well, whatever we get, you know? All right. So if you think about this now, saying very nice things to people that no one else has ever said to them or someone hasn't said to them in a long time, because you become psychologically attractive when you use that kind of language with people. But you must mean it. Make it sincere. And people will gravitate towards you, man. They'll like you more, but they won't know why. So it's pretty cool. I want to get some special guests up here. If you are under 45 years old, would you please stand up? And everybody else, give them a round of applause. Under 45, stand up. If you are under 45, come up in here. Come up with me. It's front of the stage. If you're under 45, come on up. I want people to get eyes on you. No. You want to? Okay, let's do that. Come on up. We're going to come up on stage. I want everybody to see you. This is a very interesting moment. Yeah, people are so excited to see youth. Holy crap, I didn't know there were this many. Come on, everybody. Everybody, come on up. You coming on stage? That's fine. Hey, Charlie. You know when I asked you if he had a seat, I was talking about sitting with me. Come on up, everybody. Give him a round of applause. Hurry up. Come on. I got stuff to do today. How are you? 5, baby, 5. Load it up. Everybody, come on up. We're probably going to have to cluster. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Oh, my gosh. Not so hard. Morning. Come on up. You're going to have to double stack here. I just want to get a look at this now. This is wonderful. They're still coming. Who says there's no young people in Rotary? Come on. Keep it coming. Everybody. Tara. I want to give you a couple tips about young people, okay? In Rotary, there's like this joke, probably it's across society right now, that if we want tech done, we're going to get a young person to do it. I want to tell you something. They're onto that. They feel used when you do that. When you only want them because they know how to log on to something, they know you don't love them. You just need them to get onto your password, right? Come on, look at this. Holy crap. Still coming. I'm doing this for another reason. In most organizations, you are rewarded with tenure and seniority. Rotary's no different. So we have a lot of our senior citizens, our older people, sitting in the front. This is the only way these people are going to get on stage because that's how we're structured. We're going to need a bigger stage. Here they come. Keep coming. Look at this. How about a round of applause? Under 45. Wow. If you are under 40, stay on stage. 40 to 45, thank you for your service. You probably have some Facebooking to do. Instagram, thank you very much. Under 40, staying with me. I'm doing this for a reason too, because we know that it would be great to have what Carl Sewell used to call customers for life. Most Rotarians don't join our organization for life. If you look at my Rotary bio on LinkedIn, and I hope you do, friend me. I'd love to be friends with you. It says lifetime Rotarian because I have a lifetime commitment to the greatest service organization in the world. And you should too. And they should. Thank you. But they won't if you don't give them a value prop. They're going to be gone because they're on the phone all the time. They know other good stuff's happening. And they are trading up all the time. It's human nature. If you are under 35 years old, stay on stage with me. Everybody else, thank you very much. Go have some more bacon. Look at them smiling. I'll tell you another secret about young people. They won't tell you, but young people love attention. So we have cleverly figured out how not to give it to them. Haven't we? We never give young people attention. Just, again, for the tech stuff. Under 35. Step into the light, everybody, so people can see you. Step into the light. Step in until the light hits your face. Yeah, come on. We want to see that. You may not be here long. We want to take you in. Very good. 35. If you're under 30, stay on stage. Shit's getting real now. What's your name?
Zhenya.
Zhenya.
Yes.
French?
Russian.
Close.
Yeah.
How you feel right now?
I'm happy to be on stage.
What's your name?
Caden.
What is it?
Caden?
Oh, that's what it says on your name badge. Caden. Where'd you get that name?
My parents.
I'll do the funny stuff, Caden. Logan, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
What do you do for work?
I'm a realtor.
You're a realtor. How old are you?
23.
How many houses have you sold so far?
About 46 now.
Wow. Excellent. What's your name, please?
I'm Rachel Dugan.
Hi, Rachel. Nice to meet you.
What's up?
Is this your first pets?
No, actually, I went once to the one in Chicago a few years back.
Okay, very good. And do you like this kind of atmosphere? Do you like the big event?
Does make my heart race a bit, but I mean, I love Rotary events, so yeah.
Very good. Well, we hope you come back many, many times, okay? Thank you. I know you, Christina.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us, everybody, about your club, a little bit about what you do.
So I'm with the Novi Rotary Club. We do a lot of different projects, including our senior citizens, our youth programs. Spoiler alert, Ryla is coming back. And we do a lot of events with our elementary through high school students as well.
Excellent. Isn't this a bright group of people? All of them. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Off you go. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope we've got you excited about what's possible, because if you don't know what's possible, you have no idea what to change. Thank you very much for all you do for the greatest service organization in the world.